for our next little segment here, we have a gentleman who's former military. He's got a lot of badges to prove it. He's been with us since 8 a.m. this morning down at Ground Zero all day long. We're so glad to meet him. And Richard will come up to introduce him. He's a native of Staten Island, and he's got New York in his blood. Let's bring up Richard Gage again. And
John DiMatale has been an AE 911 Truth volunteer for the last year, and he is pursuing as an engineer with how many degrees, John? 5 engineering degrees. He is a Marine. He commands the respect of the veterans who have a few questions of their own about 9/11. John, tell us about those questions and why you care so much about 9/11 Truth and why you're helping AE 9/11.
Thank you, Rick. It's been an absolute pleasure since I've known this man, which is not all that long, almost a year now. I'm a United States Marine. I did serve from 1987 to 1983. I was discharged for injuries sustained while in service to this country, and I am proud of my service, as is every other Marine, and I have never stopped serving, even though I have been officially discharged, and I will never stop serving, even if they kill me, because I will come back from the afterlife and will still serve this country. And I'm going to be bringing a whole bunch of other Marines back with me. You better believe it, people. The people in Washington are scared of you because you are waking up at an exponential rate. You go to the truth sites. You are learning what's going on. And if you've ever been to a site called From the Trenches World Report, I am one of the speakers on there on the radio show. I'm JD, U.S. Marine, fighting tyranny. And we are all fighting tyranny because that is their goal, that is their objective, because there are a bunch of psychopaths down there, a bunch of sociopaths. They see us as nothing but cattle, but I disagree with that. I am not cattle, I am an American, and I am granted certain rights under the Constitution, and they will be upheld. Part of my attempt and my outreach isn't just to military. It's also to law enforcement and to other agencies of the federal government, if you want to use that word, the people that carry the guns. And so I address even the New York police sitting here, or standing, excuse me, listening to this right now, because at some point you will be issued order contrary to your conscience, because there is an ultimate plan here that they have already been trying to execute, and that's starting World War III, starting civil unrest, destroying jobs, destroying our sense of nationality, our sense of pride. It's not going to fly, not in my country, not on my watch. Allow me to backtrack just a tiny bit. The comment that I have 5 degrees in engineering. I do have 5 degrees. 3 are in engineering, 1's in management, 1 is in finance. And this is because I was one of the guys that crawled through the minefields during the Persian Gulf War, because we were supposed to be liberating Kuwait, when in fact we were doing nothing more than protecting the corporate interests in the oil fields. I knew it. The running joke while we were there was, we're here to protect the dinosaurs, meaning the oil in the ground. There was no disillusionment about it. But Marines are noble, and we will do what we are told because we do follow orders. We are highly disciplined, trained, and we will execute those commands to the best of our ability. Well, I'm not in the Marines anymore, but I still serve this country with that same level of faith. And my commands now come from the U.S. Constitution. Rich, I brought up the question. Would you restate that question, please? Why? What am I doing to reach other veterans, or what questions are they asking? His ostensible question is, what questions do the veterans have? The problem was since 2001, September 11th, when this horrific event happened, many people went into cognitive dissonance, including me. I only took the red pill in 2010. I woke up after watching a Jesse Ventura show about the Pentagon, 9/11, and my specialty in the military was aircraft and missile systems, so they couldn't lie to me. I am highly trained in those fields, and when I saw what the government was trying to say occurred and what the physical evidence showed, there was a clear contradiction. I woke up. Well, the rest of the military is waking up now also, and it's been going on only the last few years. The military, like the rest of us, was blindsided because we have a want, a need to believe we have an honest government, a loving government, a caring government, and we don't. They have lied to us all the way. But now the veterans are starting to ask questions, and very pertinent questions, and 9/11 was the seminal moment. Why? Because they engaged in an activity we can scrutinize. We can disassemble it, analyze it, look at it, and compare it to the story we're being told. We don't always have that luxury with certain false flag events. And you can take some recent events in the Mideast as an example. But some of the questions the veterans are asking: how did those buildings come down? Clearly it was controlled demolition, and once I give them a technical explanation, that's the easy part. The technical part is always easy, but then we run into the difficult part, the emotional reluctance to accept the inevitable conclusion of what the technical information actually tells us. Terrorists didn't just walk into that building with oil drum after oil drum after oil drum after oil drum, 55-gallon drums of the necessary thermal explosives to take down those buildings, and just walk past security waving, "Hi Chuck, how you doing today? I'm just here to plant some more explosives, excuse us, and then we'll be out for lunch." That's not the way it happened. They were escorted in, there's no question about it. The question that their veterans ask is, who is they? What was their intent? And that's part of the thing that AE 911 doesn't do. We will bring you up to the evidence, up to the point of conclusion, but it is up to each and every American to make that decision, because that's an emotional hurdle you have to figure out how to get over yourself. And it's a very difficult thing to do. Don't kid yourself. It was difficult for me, and I'm sure it's difficult for everyone else that has woken up already. It will go on to be difficult as you try to wake up friends and family who are now facing that same hurdle, and you keep talking to them about it, and they say, "But why would you say that? How could you say that?" AE 911 has what we call a sterility rule, and Richard Gage didn't make this term up, I did. We analyze the information, we understand what the inevitable conclusion is, but we do not state it because we do not to discredit us on. We can't open the door to them like that. We have to keep the irrefutable evidence clean and pristine so that people like you can take it to your friends, your families, your neighbors, your co-workers and say, "Look at this. You tell me how they're wrong, and now after you agree that they're right, what does it really mean to you?" Because it means the same thing to all of us. There are a bunch of psychopaths down in Washington. They are trying to start World War III over in Syria. They've been trying desperately, almost idiotically. The fanaticism is beyond comprehension at this point. I often say that what they're doing is more like a scene out of Saturday Night Live skit. Bad theater. I mean, that's how bad it is. It's gotten really awful. They don't even try and cover up their footsteps anymore. But it is up to us, the American people, you. There is no they. There is no John Wayne riding over the ridge wearing his 6-shooter. We are the people. You are. I am. We are the posse. We are the power. That's the way the Constitution was designed. That's what the Founding Fathers envisioned, because they knew better. They understood. That's why the Second Amendment right is so important, because every single government that has disarmed its population then massacred it. That's why you disarm them first. That's why it's so critical to keep our fundamental rights, our fundamental amendments. It's so we stay alive. So we have a country to raise our families in and to give them something. We're not always going to be here. Someday it's just going to be our survivors, our children, our grandchildren, maybe our brothers, our sisters, and then their children. But we want something for them that is better than what we have today. It's innate. It's natural. That's what everybody wants. But those psychopaths, these international banksters, the corporate mafia, in their minds, everything you have earned, everything you have made belongs to them. How dare you think you actually own it? You must be insane. In fact, they've even coming out with a new psychological definition to help call people crazy who think they actually own their property. This way they can lock you up and take it. And another one is oppositional defiance disorder. If you don't agree with the government, or you think their rationales about what they're doing are incorrect, you have a psychological condition. We're going to have to lock you up and take away all your property and all your money. This is the way they think. This is their plan for us. And that's why something like this is so important, because every revolution, every time you have to save a country, it starts with the ideological process. What's really happening? Start thinking. Start questioning. And he's in the question. Did you know a third tower fell? Am I good? Yeah? Okay. I've been given my short string here. Mr. Gage has informed me, wrap it up, so I will do that. I just want to thank Mr. Gage, who has done something unique in human history. Have so many people been alive on this planet? 7+ billion people right now alive on this planet than has ever existed in all of human history, all the way up to about 1930 or so. And Mr. Gage is trying to reach out to every single one of them to question what is going on here in the United States and around the world. As far as I'm concerned, this man deserves a 100-foot bronze statue, and every child should know his name. Mr. Gage, thank you for having me up here, and thank you for letting me be part of your team.